All right, so again, book assignment due tomorrow. You guys are good, but book cover, make sure it's on there by tomorrow. Homework assignment that I sent today will be due on Monday, so you have a couple days to work on it, and I'll give you time today to work. I think we have like 20 minutes or so. But I want to cover the basics today. So we'll do a couple things. So the big thing we're in section 1.1 of your textbook and 1.2. We just kind of mixed them together. That's the notes we started yesterday. Now this is on wages. So it's how much you earn per day. It's kind of a realistic problem. The stuff we're going to be focused on today is what you make per hour. So they'll give you, how much money you make per hour and how many hours you worked. And they're going to have how much you make annually. That's the new problem we have not covered yet. Okay, so that's a new one that we're going to get today. But let's talk about the stuff we discussed yesterday. We had an hourly rate. So an hourly rate is how much you're paid per hour. So I think we did an example yesterday of like $50 per hour if you're like a mechanic or something in the tech field. If you guys have a job, what's a more realistic number that you get paid maybe per hour?
11.
11? What do you make? 9? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do 9. We'll do 9, then we'll do 11. We'll do one of each. So let's say we're making $9 per hour. Per hour. Okay? And we'll do another example here in a minute. That's a realistic number, right? Just to give you an idea, I made minimum wage when I was in high school. I made $5.25 an hour. And I had to work 30 hours a week. Plus I was doing 4 sports and I was in everything. So, but yeah, $9 per hour. Pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Now, here's the idea. How many hours do we want to work? You can make them anything. Now, let's not go past 40 hours this week. So, anything? 25? Okay, let's do that. 25 hours. Okay, so this is a realistic week. Let's say that's our week of working. Let's figure out how much we're going to get paid. Now, this is not going to put in consideration taxes coming out, like FICA for federal, or state taxes, or any health insurance, or Medicare, or Social Security, or any other deductions that come off of your wages. This is just what would the gross pay, that's what they call it. Gross pay is what you get paid before taxes come out. The cash you get in your hand is called net pay. So that's the idea. So let's do a calculation. So all you have to do is multiply these two together. That's it. So you just take $9 per hour, because I'll kind of walk you through this. So 9 per 1 hour, and you take it times the 25 hours. Because what will happen here is diagonally, these will cancel each other out. The labels will. That's how science works. That's how the change of label works. Diagonally, they cancel out. They're the same label. And what we're left with, if we multiply straight across, you just go straight across this way. 9 times 25, which is, I believe, 175, no, 225? Mm-hmm. Is that right? 225? 225. The dollar sign stayed on it because that was my label. And then the 1 goes on the bottom. If you divide by 1, it's still 225. Okay. No one's checked in yet. Okay. So that's what we're making per hour. Does that make sense what we're doing? No joke, that is your first 10 problems. They're going to give you a price you're making. It'll be a different, rate that you're making. And then they're going to give you the number of hours you're working. We don't have to worry about overtime. We don't have to worry about anything else, no deductions. This is just the intro. So now let's do the other. We said 11, right? $11 per hour. Let's do that. So we're doing $11 per hour. And how many hours do you want to work? And you can make up any number you want.
32.
32. Okay, let's do 32 hours. Okay, so exactly the same idea. Whatever you make per hour, whatever the number of hours are, you're going to multiply them together, and that's what we're going to call our gross pay. What you're making, your total wages. So let's do the next calculations here. Again, it'll be handy if you have a calculator, but you can use your Chromebook as a calculator if you need to. So $11 per 1 hour, you're going to multiply by 32 hours. That way the hours label will cancel. They'll cancel each other out, and we just multiply straight across. Okay? So if we multiply straight across, we're taking 11 times 32. The 1 goes across. The label on the top will be in dollars. And on the bottom, we'll have 1. Now, 32 times 11, I believe that's going to be $352. I think if I did that right in my head, if I multiplied that right, where's my calculator at? 32 times 11, 352. Okay, so 352, and then if you divide by 1, it's just 352. So That's the type of work I want to see. I want to see this type of stuff on paper. Make sense? Pretty easy. Okay. Calculator would be easy, just 11 times 32. I don't mind to use a calculator. It's a handy thing. In the real world, you guys always have cell phones on you, so you can always type that in and whatnot. But in here, let's try to just stick with a calculator. So you'll need one, so definitely buy one if you haven't got one. Maybe get one this weekend. You'll need one for sure. Okay, questions on the first 10 problems you're going to have. All right, that should be easy. Now, let's discuss a problem that we discussed yesterday, a full work week. What was the full work week that you 40 hours. I can't even imagine working 40 hours, you know, as a student. So full work week is 40 hours. Now, if we're going to work a full year, you know, doing that, that's called an annual wage, an annual salary. It's what you make per year, right? So what we need to worry about is what would you actually make. So let's talk about that. So the wages, we're going to make an annual salary. So that's what you make per year. That's what the word annual means. So that's a yearly salary. Yearly. Okay? So these are the next 5 problems you're going to have. And that'll be your total homework. It'll be 15 total problems. So what you're going to do is they're going to give you some pay. They're not going to have you on contract. They're going to tell you what you make per hour. I'm going to make up a number. Let's say you're getting $13.75 per hour. Per hour. So you're in some field, you get paid pretty good money to do it. Now, I want to know what you make per year. That's the only number they give you. That's it. So here's what you need to know for these problems. These are the second 5 problems you're going to do. This is the number they give you in your textbook. What you have to know is you're going to work a full 40-hour week. 40-hour week. And you're going to work 50 weeks a year. That will give you your total pay. Now, why 50? Why I made that number up? There's 52 weeks in a year. Typically, 2 weeks will be vacation days. Typically, it could be holidays, it could be other things. So they normally take off about 14 days for vacations and holidays and stuff. So you're working about 50 weeks of the year. Okay, does that make sense, those numbers? That's the numbers you have to use on the second 5. You just have to know these 2. I believe they have it in the instructions up above, but that's what you'll have to know. So what we're going to do, we need to figure out what you're going to get paid per week, like we just did over there, right? What was your weekly wage that you're making, the salary? So we're going to take the $13.75. We're going to take the $13.75 per hour. We're going to multiply it by the 40-hour work week. This will tell us what you're making per week, right? Because you worked a full 40-hour week. And then what you do is whatever number this turns out to be, in fact, I'm just going to do the math in front of you here. So when you multiply 1375 times 40-hour work week, you're making about $550 that week, okay? Then you're going to take it times the 50, because you're going to have to do that 50 times over and over and over and over and over. So if we take that times 50, there's 50 weeks in a year. This is per 1 week. This is weeks that you're working. So the weeks would cancel out. And if we multiply that together, 550 times 50, you're making $27,500 a year. Guess what? That was more than I made my first year teaching. So I wasn't making $13 an hour. Wrap your head around that. What was the number I had yesterday? It was $24,760. I think that was what I made my first year of teaching. So I was not making $13 an hour. I could reverse engineer it. In fact, that's an interesting problem. 24,760 divided by 50 weeks a year, divided by 40. I was making $12.38 my first year of teaching an hour. So, not very good. But somebody working at McDonald's will make more money than that. Actually, quick trip uptown, quick start. Somebody makes more money up there than I did my first year of teaching. And I didn't get a degree to do it. Okay, questions with the 2 types of problems. Do we feel comfortable with the 2 types? I'm going to leave these on the board. I think it's important. You get to see the yearly one. This is the second 5 problems you're going to have. The first 10 are like that. You just multiply. I want to see the work on paper. Now, when you do your homework, here's what I want to see. So on paper, so here's your notebook paper, right? You need to have your name on the top. You need to have the page and page numbers and all that stuff, the numbers you're gonna do. You're gonna have the date. Now, I know this is due Monday, right? This homework's due Monday. I don't mind if you put Sunday's date on it. Maybe you started Sunday night. I'm a realist. Some people start homework on Sunday nights. I understand that. I'm pretty much expecting you have some time here. You can probably work on it today. You're gonna put the date, whatever date you're working on it, and then it's due Monday. And then you're also gonna put what period you are. So you guys are period 4, so you need to put that on the top. I don't care where you put it, it needs to be on the top of the paper. The reason being, I have a policy with all my students, at any point during the day, you can always walk in my room, you don't even need to knock, just walk in, you can put your homework in the back basket. So maybe you're at study hall and you're like, hey, I just got Word's homework done, I'm gonna go turn this in so I don't lose it. Just walk in, turn it in the back basket. That way, if I know what period you are, I can put it in my little cubby over there. You can see those like tiered little holders over there. I just slide it in there and I know where it's at and I grade it tonight. So, and I do grade every problem. I don't just pick one at random. I do grade every single one. So, so just make sure you are working on them. You're showing work and all that good stuff. You can use calculators obviously because that'll make your life a lot easier, but I just want to get a sense for how this works. Okay, now before I write your homework down, is there any questions with the 2 problems that are on the board? Perfect. Okay, here's your homework. I have it written down. It's 15 pounds total. Here's the page numbers. You're on page 2 of your textbook. You're doing 1 through 10, exercise A, and then you're turning to page 3 and doing numbers 1 through 5, exercise A. And that's your homework that's due on Monday. Tomorrow we'll do more notes, different notes, and all that good stuff. I'm going to go on. Thank you, Ms. Brown, for your notes. I'll add that to my website today. So you guys can see exactly. Actually, I'll add it here in about 10 seconds from the notes from yesterday. So if you want to go back and watch those films, see what we did. I'll still put out a question today on the Google Classroom. I think, Ms. Foster, I got to add you in there. So you're not in the geometry one anymore, so you're not getting weird messages for that. So, all right. So that's it. You guys can work. You guys can do whatever you need to. I think we're out of here at, let's see, what time are we out of here? We're out of here at 10:18. So you got another 10 minutes or so.